Hello everybody and welcome into the OK Hardwood Class 6A State Tournament Preview. I'm Michael Knight, the Managing Director of the OK Preps Network, and during this OK Hardwood exclusive, we're going to break down the upcoming 6A State Tourney with team and matchup analysis. You're going to hear from all 8 6A State coaches as they take their teams into the upcoming tournament. But without further ado, let's not waste any more time. Let's take a look at the bracket for the upcoming 6A State Tournament in boys basketball here in Oklahoma.
All 4 quarterfinal games are taking place at Skiatook on Thursday. The semifinals will be held at ORU, with the championship game taking place at 7:45 on Saturday evening. Edmond Memorial will face Union at 2 o'clock Thursday. That's a rematch of last year's area game and the 6A State Championship game back in 2012. Owasso will face off with Putnam City West at 3:30. Those two teams met in the 2013 first round, with Owasso running away with the victory. Broken Arrow will face Mustang at 7 p.m. The Broncos are making their second straight appearance at state, while BA is in for the second time in 3 years. And finally, Edmond Santa Fe squares off with Jinx at 8:30.
Up first in our bracket breakdown is Edmond Memorial taking on Union. This has nearly become a yearly tradition, seeing these two teams square off in the playoffs with a lot on the line. The two teams have combined for the last 4 state championships, with Edmond Memorial winning in 2011 and 2013, and Union winning in 2012 and last year in 2014. The defending champs had to replace all 5 starters off of last year's championship team, yet head coach Rudy Garcia believes that this year's team is peaking at the right time.
Well, we have, like you said, the last 9 games obviously have matured, and with some lineup changes that we felt were valuable for the team success. And like you said, 5 new kids starting, 3 sophomores, a freshman, and a junior. So the chemistry is good between that group, and then the seniors that were starting early, now coming off the bench and doing some great things off the bench. They've accepted that role, and they bring energy and a different dynamic off the bench than what we had. So I think just those changes kind of helped change, what direction the team was going. Obviously, there were some other issues going on with it internally, and we kind of got all those things straightened out. And since that time, the team and the kids have been playing great.
Union is making their 5th straight trip to the state tournament. The Redskins are the defending champions and have won 2 out of the last 3 gold balls. Garcia hopes that his young team, who does not have experience playing under the bright lights of the Mabee Center, will not be satisfied just yet.
So that's why we tell our kids this is where dreams are made. The goal is to get here. We're here now, but just don't be happy to be here. And sometimes I think when you have a young team, they may think, hey, we made it, it's the end. And my daughter, who's down in the Midland, Texas working, had tweeted or emailed my son about getting there. She was happy, excited. He's to the state tournament. He made the comment, he said, we ain't done yet. So, which is good for a freshman to realize, hey, we're there and we're not done yet, and we're going to be coming ready to play. And like you said, we respect Edmond Memorial, and we're just going to have to get ready to come in and accept the challenge.
Edmond Memorial head coach Shane Cowherd has a lot of respect for the champions.
Well, Union, obviously great program. Coach Garcia does a great job with those guys, and we know every year we expect Union basketball to be competing for titles, just like I think Union basketball expects Edmond Memorial to be competing for titles. So, we're a big believer in a little bit of sharpening each other. We want to play the best. We want to have the opportunity to be able to compete against the best, and we have a lot of respect for the defending state champions. So it's a big deal.
Edmond Memorial is back into the state tournament after missing out last year. They're searching for their 3rd state championship in the last 5. Leading the offensive charge is guard Curran Scott. Scott set the school record for most points in a single season. With Edmond Memorial putting out top Division I talent in the last several years, that accomplishment is something special.
Well, Curran's a really gifted offensive player, one of the most gifted I've ever had the opportunity to coach. As far as breaking some records and things like that, there's a couple things that go into that. One, we rely a little bit more on Curran's scoring than what we had to rely on some of those other guys, because they played with some other incredible players as well. And that's not to diminish the guys that Curran plays with, because we have a good group of guys surrounding him as well. But we do rely on Curran to be able to go get a set amount of numbers every night. And he's really gifted. He can score in 3 different levels. He can score at the rim, he can score from the line, he can score from the field, and that makes him really, really dangerous.
Up next in the bracket breakdown is another playoff rematch. Owasso will face off with Putnam City West for the second time in 3 years in the 6A first round. Owasso head coach Mark Van Kuren will look back to 2013's meeting for a couple of things.
Well, I think style of play probably is the one thing that you can take away from it. I mean, obviously the players are different, but style of play is similar with both teams. So they're up-tempo, they'll press, and try to get us going faster. And that's something we're going to have to be able to handle. We're going to have to make good decisions with the ball in our hands against pressure defense because they're extremely athletic and well coached.
The Owasso Rams are into the state tournament for the third consecutive season. That's a school record. Led by reigning Gatorade State Player of the Year Shake Milton, the Rams are looking to advance to the title game for the first time in school history. Van Kuren believes the last 2 trips to state have helped out this team.
Well, I think it's important that you can build on things like that. It's important for us to continue to build on it. The experience that our younger kids have had, having been there before, I think will be a valuable situation for us. But, in the end, you have to show up against the opponent and play well, and that's what we're going to have to do against Putnam City West.
Putnam City West made it all the way to last year's state championship game. They ended up losing to Union. They played the second half of the season without star junior guard Tyson Jolly. Jolly is back, and the Patriots look like they're playing their best basketball in the last couple weeks.
We was out with Tyson. Everyone knows about Tyson, but a lot of people don't realize that we was out without Dedrin. Dedrin's averaging right at 10 and 10, blocking a half a game. Palmer, we didn't have him as well, but just everything that the teams went through last year. It's kind of like a spiritual battle, motivation within themselves, and it's been fun to coach. And I think they have a sense of urgency and the edge that they want to. Every time they step on the court, they feel like it could be their last time on the court. So just togetherness. I mean, we got 9 guys that every night. We could start probably any 9, because they play the first quarter, and 6 seniors. It's just one of those deals, like you said, they don't want to go out any kind of way. It's gonna be a fight for them to go out. I'm not saying that that it couldn't happen, but anything can happen now in your state. So.
PC West fell 1 step short of bringing home the ultimate prize. While many people expect the Patriots and Mustang to meet in a state title showdown, Burt and the Patriots are focused on Thursday.
We just focused on the next game. The next game that we have. We're going to prepare for our practice on Monday, and our focus is going to be that practice right there, and that's Owasso. We don't know what the future heads for either one of us, but the only thing we can do is prepare for what's at hand and what's the time is coming, and we know that we got Owasso on Thursday. So that's all we're thinking about.
In our third matchup, Broken Arrow will take on Mustang. The Tigers will try to do something that nobody else has been able to do yet this season: give Mustang their first loss.
Well, I think you just continue to do the stuff that you've been doing. Obviously, Mustang's a really, really good team, and we're going to have to do a lot of things right in order to have a chance to beat them. But it's a no-lose situation for us. You guys can come in there and pretty much play freely and try to do something that no one else has been able to do all year.
Wallace was a part of the only Broken Arrow team to win the state championship back in 1997. He led East Central to the state tournament 2 years ago as a head coach. The Cardinals were led by point guard Caleb Porter that year. Wallace's state tournament team this season is led by another point guard. This time it's Josh Holliday.
I think the similarities between the two is, they're just both competitors and they both want to win. I think Caleb was really, really shifty with the ball and could really shoot it deep, and I think Josh is so athletic and can get to the rim whenever he wants to. So I think they're different in that aspect, but the similarities is they really want to win, and they were great leaders.
Mustang head coach Terry Long talked to us about the communication that he has had with his team discussing a possible perfect season.
We never talked about it at all. Of course, after the other night after winning in the state tournament, then I told them now it's important to be undefeated this week coming up. So during the season, not that big of a deal, just trying to get better, progress as a team, and but now, being undefeated is the most important thing this week.
Mustang will try to join the 2012 Union team as the only teams in 6A history to go undefeated. Mustang lost to Putnam City West in the semifinals a year ago, believes that last year's experience will help this time around.
Just over the course of this season, just watching the kids grow, learn how to win close basketball games, and just taking every possession and treating it as a jewel and not overlooking one or two possessions and try to play it a different way at the end of a ball game. So just the experience of playing here last year and the bright lights of the Navy Center, I just think our kids are just a little bit more grounded and really understand how to win close ball games.
And in our final matchup, Jenks and Edmond Santa Fe make returns to the state tournament after missing out on the last couple years. For Jenks head coach Clay Martin, it's good to be back at state after missing out on the last 3 seasons.
Well, it's hard to say. I mean, we've had some good teams the last 2 years, and but I would attribute a lot of the things that we've had some balls bounce our way that maybe we didn't get in the last couple of years. But this year's team, I think for sure, they're just more experienced. I think the last 2 years we were playing a lot of one-year seniors that really hadn't been in the grind very long, and I think it showed up in the late in the playoff type run. But TJ's obviously been playing for a couple of years. Isaac's got a couple years under his belt. Hutch was a 6-man last year. And we've just got guys, the chemistry is just, not that the other teams didn't have chemistry, obviously, but for this team's chemistry is just really, really fun.
Helping in the state tournament drought at Jenks is point guard TJ Washington. The junior has stepped up into a leadership role this season. While Martin likes what he's seen from his point guard, he's quick to point out the help that Washington has around him.
Well, I think he's really developing. I think over the last 4 weeks we've seen a different side of TJ, really trying to take some ownership and responsibility, both good and bad, depending on how things go. But his play has really improved. His demeanor on the court is getting more even keel, when things don't go right. But, you got to give a lot of credit to Hutch Peterson and Carson Epps for leading this team. 2 seniors, obviously Carson's experience on the football field has translated and transferred over to us. And Hutch is just a glue guy. He's the guy that keeps us together and makes the big 3 when we need it and makes big free throws. But we've got a combination of leaders, and I'm proud of all 3 of them.
Edmond Santa Fe had a strong second half of the season to make it to the state tournament. Head coach Lenny Hatchett has a simple explanation for the biggest difference between their play in the first half of the season and their play in the last couple of weeks.
We're just playing team basketball. The kids get along, they're sharing the basketball. We're really emphasizing on the defensive end that it's got to be done together. They're playing hard, they're being coachable, and I think all those attributes go together in finding ways to get wins towards this time of the year. And at this time of the year, if you don't play no defense, you'll be done early. So our kids are understanding that, and this is very important to us. And it's been a gratifying moment for those kids to get there, because this senior class hasn't been to a state tournament. So they're excited about it, and now we just need to embrace the moment but not be complacent. Let's get out there and see what happens Thursday night.
Santa Fe is back into the state tournament after missing out the last couple years. It's their first trip to state under Hatchett. This isn't their first trip to ORU this season, however. The Wolves played in the Tournament of Champions back in December, an experience that Hatchett believes will help his team this week.
I think it's taught us a lot, of the losses that we've had this year. Out of the 7 games we've lost, 6 of them were less than double digits. We've lost 4 games by 1 point. We lost a couple games down here, real close against Tulsa Memorial. The experience of playing the top teams in 5A and 6A throughout our season, our kids are understanding we have to win those close games now. And these are going to be the type of games that we're going to experience, I think, Thursday night. And I'm hoping that experience carries over for our kids and they learn from the past and we can correct those mistakes on Thursday.
My thanks goes out to all 8 coaches who took some time this last weekend to talk a little basketball with me. Without further ado, it's time to make some picks, because this wouldn't be a state tournament preview without some selections on who's going to make it to championship Saturday and who's going to be raising that gold ball. A couple of weeks ago, we put out our playoff preview, and in it I said that Mustang would face off with Putnam City West for the state championship, and I'm sticking with that pick. Although I like the Owasso Rams, I like what Union has. They're playing their best basketball right now, even Edmond Memorial. You have to watch out for them, led by Curran Scott and Christian Doolittle, but I believe it'll be the 2 best teams in the state facing off on Saturday evening, and those 2 best teams are Mustang and Putnam City West. In that same playoff preview, I said that PC West would win the state championship. With that gut feeling I have, I still have it. I think that the Patriots are playing their best basketball right now, and I think they have that extra bit of determination. They remember the heartbreak they felt last year, not having Tyson Jolly on the court, having to go home with a silver ball and a championship loss to Union. They have Tyson Jolly. They have a cast of tremendous athletes, and I believe that Putnam City West will win an instant classic in the championship game against the Mustang Broncos. I believe Mustang is the team of the future. This extremely young, talented team will be back next year, and they'll be the early favorite to win the 6A state championship. However, I believe that this year it's all about Putnam City West. It's all about Tyson Jolly and his road to redemption, and I think that the Patriots will be raising the gold ball on Championship Saturday under the bright lights of the Mabee Center on the campus of Oral Roberts University. This has been the OK Hardwood Class 6A State Tournament preview. I'm Michael Knight, the Managing Director of the OK Preps Network, and we're proud to bring you this OK Hardwood exclusive that you'll only get on the OK Preps Network. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time. Enjoy the state tournament later on this week.